the director of a word that I don't even know how to say.
Ayurvedic medicine.
Yes, that. And he got went to college in, how do you say it?
Baroda.
Baroda. And anyway, please welcome Dhaval.
Oh, how far up can you? You know.
Oh, yeah.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Lane, and thank you, everybody. It's really indeed I really feel very happy that I'm able to share something with the people that I really like. I was told that whenever I have to give a talk, there has to be some humor or joke in there. So I'll start with that one first and get that out of my way. So a very successful, very influential, let's say an attorney, when he passed away and is at the pearly gate and waiting, and St. Peter's is busy, and so this person is getting a little impatient. So when I'm getting in, where I'm going to go? And so he says, Julio Hill says, a little time, I'm still busy. And meanwhile, a person with the white coat breezes through and goes directly in. And that attorney gets upset with St. Peter, says, what's that? How come he could go in there while I'm waiting here? He's just a doctor. And St. Peter says, no, he's God, but sometimes he plays doctor. So, but here sometimes, yeah, sometimes, sometimes here we, the doctors, tend to play God. So be it. So today I'm going to be talking about healthy living naturally. We all want to be healthy. We all want to be living happily. And even though we say ever after, but I've never seen anybody who gets out of this world alive. So we'll eventually reach our end, but we can certainly make use of time here every day, every moment, to see how we can slow down that process. And during that time, live as pain-free, drug-free. By drug, I don't mean any drugs, but any kind of medicine-free. Because last year when I was at a doctor's office for my annual wellness checkup, I said, so what are your current medications? And I said, none. It says, how old are you? I said, I'm old enough. It says, it's surprising that in your age group, on an average, somebody would be taking at least 8 to 10 different medications. So that's how we live these days. So living naturally, healthily is a way to go. So let's do one first exercise if we can do. So all I want you to do, we'll play doctor. So I don't have a watch with the hand. Do you have the watch with the second hand? So all I want you to do is once I say start, I want you to check your pulse and count the rate, okay? So, go. Stop. So whatever you counted, multiply by 4, that's your pulse rate per minute, right? You know your math, right? Good. So now what I want you to do is close your eyes, sit comfortably, and just become aware of your breath. Don't try to change your breath or modify your breath. Just become aware of your breath. Let that be nice and gentle and slow, and feel what your body feels as you're breathing in and you're breathing out. As you're breathing in and you're breathing out. Nice and slow. Staying connected with the body and the breath. And now, while keeping your eyes closed, bring your hand up to check your pulse. Start now. Stop. So, you know what was your pulse rate before, and what's your pulse rate after 1 minute of slow, gentle belly breathing. Did anybody notice any change in their pulse rate? You did. Okay, good. You did too. Okay. Whose pulse rate went up? 3. Whose pulse rate went 4, 5? Whose pulse rate went down? Whoa, look at that. So that is the power of gentle belly breathing. When we are relaxed, when we are under less stress, our pulse slows down. When we are charged up, when we are under stress, our pulse rate goes up, heart rate goes up. So in this day and age, our life has been very stressful. Is there anybody who doesn't have stress in their life? No. Though I must say that stress is not all bad. If you do not have stress in your life, very likely you're not alive. So everybody has to have stress. I mean, everybody faces stress, but it is how we manage their stress that's what is important. And so one way to manage stress and keep that stress under control throughout the day is just this simple, gentle technique of being aware of the breathing and doing gentle belly breathing. It doesn't require any other gadgets. It just requires your awareness and the time. And every hour, every few hours, every 3 hours, whatever you can think of, take that, what I call breath break. So instead of coffee break, this is the way to go. Okay. So Ayurveda, Lane had a hard time pronouncing, but he's not alone. So Ayurveda is the traditional holistic medical science, but not just a medical science, but a life science or science of life that originated in India more than 5,000 years ago. And that's the only continuously practiced field of medicine for such a long period of time. Okay. Our history of Western medical science doesn't date back that far. So what does Ayurveda teach us? Because it's the science of life, it helps us to maintain health of healthy people, means preventive health, preventive aspect, preventive medicine. It removes the disease, not only just the disease, but also the underlying cause whenever possible, and restores the body's balance. It improves immunity, vitality, and vigor. It's so important, no matter what age we are, to have our vitality and vigor. Hardly when I watch TV and half an hour goes by without a commercial about, do you know what your T-score is? What about ID? So people are concerned about it rightly, and so maintaining the vitality and vigor is a very important factor. It improves longevity and it allows healthy aging to take place. But more importantly, it empowers every one of us to live life fully, happily, and fulfilled. So, drink 1 cup This is a very important healthy tip. Drink 1 cup of warm water first thing in the morning. So before having cup of tea, cup of coffee, juice, or whatever else, you drink 1 cup of warm water. Not just water, but warm water. The reason why we advise that, or I would advise is that, is because that warm water that you take in the morning is going to start the process of gentle elimination. It's going to start kindling your digestive fire, because the digestion is so important. Nowadays, even in the Western medicine, we have started accepting the fact that our brain or mind is not just in the head, but it's more importantly, it's in our gut. We have, believe it or not, more than 10 trillions of microbial organisms in our GI tract. And when they're not in balance, we start having problems. And once the GI problems start, or when the digestive fire is not very healthy, then it allows the other diseases to be expressed or manifested or take place. So drinking 1 cup of warm water first thing in the morning is so helpful. When I shared this first time with my people and students and colleagues at the yoga studio, a few months after that, that lady told me that you have changed not just my life, but the life and lives of all my family members, including their kids. And says that this had made such a significant difference, because once you have a better digestion, your health significantly improves. The other important tip is to cultivate gratitude. When I came through the door and I was paying for my lunch, then he said, "What are you doing? You're not supposed to pay today. It's your lucky day. You get a free lunch." And I said, yes, it is my lucky day, because every day when I wake up, that's what I tell myself. It's a lucky day for me today. So cultivating the gratitude and the attitude that how we're going to face our day is so important. I usually tell my patients when they come to see me that when your eyes are open in the morning, do not just jump out of bed, but take a moment to express gratitude. And express gratitude to who or to what. And it doesn't matter. If you have, based on your belief system, for your faith, if you believe in some higher power, some energy or super force, whatever name you have or no name for that superpower, you can express that gratitude to that super universal energy. If that doesn't resonate with you, you can express gratitude to your spouse, who was next to you throughout the night, hopefully. Or you can express gratitude to your child or to your children, who have been making your life so fulfilled and so happy and joyful most of the time. Or you can express gratitude to your pet, your kitty or a dog snuggled up next to you or under your bed. If nothing of this resonates with you, you can express gratitude to yourself. Because when you are asleep, your body is non-functioning practically, at least for all outward purposes. Your mind is kind of half there, half not there. Who is it that is experiencing and watching, so to say, so that in the morning when you get up, somebody or that inner voice says, "I had a good night's rest." No, it was a lousy night tonight. So whatever that is, so that inner self, the inner consciousness, the higher self, that is you yourself. So you can express gratitude to that. But cultivating that gratitude and the attitude for the rest of the days by setting the intention is so important to how the day unfolds. Okay. The third thing is oleation, means applying oil. I've never seen a real old person skin being very smooth, shiny, and oily beyond certain. I'm not talking about the age, I'm just talking about old person. So old age is very relative. Long time ago I thought that, my God, 50 is an old age. And now my definition has changed significantly. So, but what I'm talking about is that as we grow old, our skin loses its elasticity. It loses its moisture and oiliness. It becomes dry and rough, it's a little more scaly, etc. So applying oil is so important. When you go to get a professional massage, here, at least in this part of the world, they don't use much oil. They use some lotion, but not oil. In India, when you go to get a massage, they use oil. So oil actually provides real oiliness to the skin. According to Ayurvedic understanding, if you do it regularly, frequently, that oil does not just stay on the skin or improve the condition of the skin. Actually, it penetrates through the skin, through all the tissues, way down deep to the bones. My aunt, who was, when he passed away, she was in late 90s. Every day, she would have somebody to come and give her a massage once she passed age 70. And even though she was in mid-90s, she did not have osteoporosis. So oleation, as we call it, external oleation. So you can do that yourself. You don't have to go to a professional massage therapist, because here, unless you go to an Ayurvedic massage therapist, you would not get that oil. But you can apply oil to yourself every day, or 3 days a week, or at least twice, whatever time you can do that. And you can use, the oil needs to be warm. Most people would benefit just by using sesame oil. So it doesn't have to be any fancy. But if you do want to be fancy, then you can buy this massage oil or that massage oil or whatever. But just plain warm sesame oil. And you do that head to toe. But you also use that same sesame oil and put it in your mouth and use it as a mouthwash, or gargle, or squish it in your mouth. Commonly, it is being called these days oil pulling. I don't know how many of you have heard that. But usually you put that in your mouth, keep it in your mouth, rinse it around, swish it around, keep it for at least 3 to 5 minutes, and then you spit it out. Just recently, one of my patients, he comes periodically to see me, and he was just whatever other problem we had, but he mentioned about that, I'm having this dental plaque and my dentist is getting worried about it. And I just told him to do oil pulling. And last week when he came, a month later, he said, my God, my dentist was amazed. He didn't believe beforehand when I said, this is what I'm going to do. But now that I've done that and he saw me, he says, keep on doing that. So oil pulling, not only it improves your oral hygiene, dental hygiene, it also improves your face and makes your face look a little younger, because when you keep on using it in your mouth and swishing around, you're exercising your facial muscles. So it acts more like a gentle facelift, if you may say so. But oleation externally, but even internally, is equally important. Because as we know, the beauty is not just the skin. Beauty actually radiates from inside out. And so providing that oleation internally is very good. So for a long time, we were all talking about fat is bad. And now we have changed our mind and we say, no, healthy fat is good. And we do need to have some fat in our diet, because if we have internal lubrication, that's the real lube job, as I call it. That our innards stay smooth. It helps with elimination. It also allows healthy digestion. And the healthiest fat, which is not a very common concept here, is what we call ghee, G-H-E-E, which is clarified butter. Butter as is not considered that healthy, but when we talk about clarified butter, so the unhealthy particles have been removed, and what has been left is what we call ghee or clarified butter. That is very helpful, and according to Ayurvedic understanding, it should be consumed in every meal that we have. Talk about the diet. The Western, I got still some time. So the Western understanding of diet has changed significantly. Thank you. We have moved, if you look at our dietary recommendation, dietary guidelines, has changed significantly over a period of time. For a while, fat was bad. Now the carbs are bad. For a while, protein was not that great. But so we keep on shifting based on what we hear and whatever new, quote unquote, science or truth comes to light. Now, real truth is non-changeable. Relative truth can change every time, every moment, every day, whatever. And we can all make up our own truth and destroy our own truth. But anyway, so plant-based diet is healthier diet than the animal-based diet. It does not mean that we all have to be vegetarian. And particularly those people who are raised on animal-based diet, when they change to become vegetarian, for a while they are okay, but after a little while their body will start craving meat, because that is how the body is used to. We have, just the way we think that we are intelligent people, we have intelligence even at the cellular level. The cells have their own intelligence. All these cells are living organisms. And so they know what their needs are, and they pick up what they need. For example, the thyroid cells would pick up iodine. It would not pick up anything else. The bones would pick up calcium because they know what they need for their structure, for their endurance, for their function. So many people who are kind of raised on the animal-based diet, when they go off, after a while they start craving meat. So it's okay to eat meat, but if a majority of our diet is plant-based, it will really shift not only our own health, but also, and some people may or may not accept that, the health of our environment. The plant-based diet is ecologically more friendly compared to the animal-based diet. So there are tons of research being done about plant-based diet. And if you have not seen a documentary movie called Forks Over Knives, I think you should see that. It has been produced by 2 MDs. They've done some studies in China and other parts of the world and tried to show how the plant-based diet reduces the incidence of health problems like cancer, diabetes, heart problem, etc. Even the heart healthy diet that's now being recommended at many cardiac rehab centers and hospitals is predominantly, even though we call Mediterranean diet, it's predominantly plant-based diet with some fish and very little red meat or heavy meat. The mindfulness, another important things, and that's such a buzzword these days, everything being mindful. But being mindful of what we are doing from moment to moment is so important to maintain that clarity. Because after all, we need the clarity to make the right choices. If you're not fully aware the information that is coming in, and if you're not fully able to process that information with proper clarity, the choices that we make based on that is not likely to be healthy. For example, we had the faulty intelligence, that's what we've been told now, about weapons of mass destruction. And that led to according to some people, us invading Iraq. I'm not going to go into any of those, but what I'm trying to say is that if we do not have proper clarity of the information that we have gathered, we don't make the right choices. So mindfulness is so important. And how do we cultivate that mindfulness? It doesn't require a large, big effort of any kind, but except every time when we're kind of interacting, eating, we just try to satisfy all of our senses. So when you're eating something, you enjoy the color on your plate of the food. You satisfy your visual senses. You satisfy the sense of smell by really taking in the aroma of that food. And when you put that bolus in your mouth, you really enjoy the temperature, the texture. Now, so you're satisfying the tactile sensation. And as you're chewing it slowly, you enjoy the taste of that. So you satisfied all your senses that way. And sometimes when you eat something crunchy, it also makes some noise, so you also hear that. So each bolus that you take, instead of just gulping it down or without being mindful while watching TV or reading a book or something, if you do mindfully, automatically you don't overeat. Your satiation point is reached very quickly. And as a result, we don't have to worry about weight gain because we don't overeat. Okay? So mindfulness in every act of life and the periodic fasting. To keep the digestive apparatus a little healthier, we need to give it some downtime. So we don't have to stuff ourselves every day with 3 or 6 meals a day. One of the things we say in Ayurveda is that do not eat if you're not hungry. So we don't have to have breakfast if you're not hungry, and that goes contrary to the current recommendation. Okay? We don't have to eat every few hours because we are just dousing the fire instead of allowing the fire to kindle really well and then putting some food in that can be digested and consumed very quickly. So periodic fasting, that can be skipping a meal, just doing the liquid fast, bless you, just doing a juice fast. So there are different ways of doing fasting, and one can do once a week, more than once a week. So in India, many of these things are tied with the rituals. Instead of trying to explain to people that these are the healthy things to do and trying to explain to everybody, they said if we just make it as a ritual, some kind of tradition tied with something or the other, people would automatically start doing that. So they will say that on such and such day, full moon day, it's an auspicious day, you need to be fasting. So everybody says, okay. Or they'll say, oh, 11th day of the moon is an auspicious, you should be fasting. Or they'll say, what's your, whatever is the Lord that you believe in, whether it is Shiva or Krishna or Rama, what is his day? So this is his day. Okay, they should be fasting on that day. Or say, what's your birthday? Oh, my birthday was Thursday. Okay, so Thursday is a good day for you should be fasting. So that's how people were told to kind of incorporate some of these rituals. The regular exercise, physical activity is so important. Now even we say that every hour to 2 hours, if you're at the desk, you should get up, walk around a little bit, get your Fitbit on, and make sure that you've got 10,000 feet every day. So there are more ways now that we're trying to nudge people to do the exercise, but the best exercise is yoga. And it is never too late to do yoga. If you're breathing, you can do yoga. Even if you're paralyzed in the bed, you can do yoga because you're still breathing. You can do yoga in the chair, you can do yoga on the floor, you can do even acro yoga up in the air. So there are so many ways that, and recently, just last year when I was at a yoga conference, one of my keynote speaker was a good friend of mine. He said that they were instrumental, means he and some of his colleagues, in devising a yoga protocol for training for astronauts. Because there's no gravity up there. So it's hard for them to do yoga otherwise. So they were still able to devise a protocol and they started doing yoga. And the other person that I know, he said that when military establishment once asked them to come and do some yoga, it says, you can't use any of these Hindu terms or Om or whatever else. And so he said, fine, no problem. And after they did that, the soldiers started asking again, so when are we going to do yoga again? So then they will say that, okay, we'll bring them back. So after several sessions, then the commander said that you may use whatever language you want to use, that's okay. But after a while, they notice the change in the attitude, because yoga is transformative. Not only it affects your physical health, it affects your mental health, your emotional health. It really transforms your life if you do it fairly regularly. And so when the commander noticed that, he said, well, I don't think that we should let you guys do yoga here. And the guy said, why? He says, I see the people changing, and maybe I may not have much army left after a little while. So the yoga teacher says that, you know, the yoga was first taught and preached on the battlefield. Krishna taught yoga to his prime student Arjuna on the battlefield when Arjuna said, I can't fight. I'm looking at these people, I know what kind of destruction I'm going to cause. I don't want to go through that. And Krishna at that time taught him yoga and says, it is your duty to fight for the cause that you are here for. And so that's what this guy says. So if you allow these people to do yoga, yes, granted, some of them would say, that's not my duty, I'm not going to fight. But some of those who do stay, they'll be not only fight, but fight with precision. You'll have less casualty. You'll be certainly going to have much headway in your field, because these people will be so focused, so oriented, and so kind of dedicated. So yoga is the best form of exercise. I've been told that I've got 1 minute left. Loving kindness meditation. So if you don't do anything that I told you today, except you do this one, loving kindness meditation. That's to cultivate the compassion and forgiveness for ourselves and for others. Most of the time, we are so kind to everybody. We really kind of weep with everybody. We are kind of empathetic and sympathetic to everybody, except ourselves. We want to give, but we don't have time to give ourselves anything. So we do the loving kindness meditation. And there's a specific text, and you do that to yourself, you do that for your loved ones, you do that for somebody who have caused problem or you have discord with. So cultivating the loving kindness meditation is so helpful to improve our physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. So if you don't do anything else, please think about loving kindness meditation. You go on YouTube, you'll find that. You go on Google, you'll find different kind of text for that. Okay, so I'll stop here. There's some things that you can drink to do your gentle detox. And I guess that should be it. For good night's rest. Okay, so routine and regularity, exercise moderation in your activity, variation in what you do, gratitude and compassion. These things, if you employ in your day-to-day life, you will start noticing the shift in your health. Thank you all.
So for those of you who are trying to make notes, this is going to be our first recorded program, and it will be available online as soon as we get it done. So thank you, Dhaval, for being a pilot program.
You want to pass one? This one?
Yeah.
So this is for good night's rest. Oh, sorry. If you're having problem with the sleep, you drink 1 cup of warm milk with a pinch of nutmeg, pinch of cardamom, few strands of saffron. Yeah, Dennis.
Before my mom passed away, she was 90. The doctor had her on some deep breathing routines. I don't know if it was because she was small, stature, or something with her body. But I also heard over the years that deep breathing helps with dieting. So you mentioned gentle breathing. Do you believe deep breathing is important?
Yeah, so even though when I say gentle breathing, it's still gentle and deep. So in the sense that when I say, most of the time it's just do deep breathing, people try to puff their chest like, so that's not deep breathing. But the deep breathing is gentle breath that allows the diaphragm to shift down so that all the 3 lobes of the lungs are fully expanding. And then you exhale, the diaphragm moves all the way up, expelling all the air. So it becomes deep, but still gentle with minimum effort. Yeah.
Dhaval, the oiling, how
Yes.
long do you need to leave that on your body for it to be effective?
Very good question. So ideally, we said that leave it for 15 to 20 minutes. So you put it all on, and that is the time when you can do something else. You can do some meditation, you can do some breathing practices, you may read something at that time, you may just chant some, whatever holy name you want to do, so you can do that.
Why sesame oil?
Why sesame oil?
Some people say coconut oil and all these other.
Yeah, so it depends on, the coconut oil is good for some but not for all, based on its property. But the sesame oil is generally good for all. Yeah. Last question. I'll be around here if anybody wants to ask questions afterwards. Yeah.
The warm water in the morning, a lot of times people suggest lemon also.
Yes.
Is lemon beneficial or is it?
So for some people, yes. For some people, even lemon and honey is also better. But by and large, if you don't know anything else about you, just warm water is fine.